Okay, so let's begin at the beginning. In the beginning, what did we have? And so immediately we're into the theoretical realms, the imagination, and so in the beginning we can argue that all was one was all, no distinction of self and other, and this is what all the spiritual traditions throughout all history have pointed to as the Godhead, or in the Vedic tradition, it's Brahman. It's the one all-pervasive creator, one, not two. There's the truth is one. The wise have called it by many names, and so this is our dot. It is our fundamental sphere. It is our black hole. It is dimension zero. And with this dot, you can zoom all the way in, you can zoom all the way out, and you are never going to get to the center of the dot, and you are never going to get outside the dot, because the dot is all that there is. It's all encompassing, and the only two directions are in and out. But like a black hole, it's consistently collapsing in on itself. Nothing can actually escape it, because there's nowhere else to go. You can't get outside the one all that is, because that's all that there is. And so this is a purely abstract concept. It takes a little bit of imagination to get there. Do you have a question?
Is this like pre-Big Bang?
This is pre-Big Bang.
When everything was squished into a mustard seed.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is pre-Big Bang. And it has this implosive quality. Its direction is down and in. It is the definition of density. It has the energy of contentment, fulfillment, security, this imperturbable wholeness. And perhaps some of you have this experience in your meditations where you get to that place of wholeness. It's like, oh, I'm so calm, I'm content, there's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do, I don't have to worry about anything. Everything that I need is right here. And what peace is that? And this is the peace of the primordial creator, the primordial state of things. The way of knowing is instantaneous awareness. And again, perhaps you have this experience in your life where the moment something happens, there's no delay. It's not even like a nerve ending had to send a signal. It just, instantaneously what's happening, what you want to do. That's the mode of awareness of dimension zero. And in the Ayurvedic paradigm, it's known as Purusha, which is the archetypal masculine quality. It is the inanimate stuff of which creation is made. So when we move along, we'll see that this is the stuff of which creation is made, and then the feminine principle comes in and animates that stuff. But for now, this is just the stuff, and it's not moving, it's not doing anything. And this is the quality of Lord Shiva, who's just meditating on top of the mountain and doesn't move, doesn't do anything until his consort Prakriti comes along and pokes at him and wants to procreate. So we'll get there. Dimension zero is associated with the number one. It is the first, and therefore everything that follows relies upon its existence, right? Every other possible number is divisible by the number one. And if we somehow negated the number one, every other number would be negated with it. There's either something or nothing. And in this case, somethingness and nothingness are difficult to distinguish. Theoretically, you can't actually distinguish between nothing and everything. And that's the paradox of the dot of dimension zero. Okay, we can all feel the energy of what it is to be in dimension zero. Now, we can speculate about why the all-pervasive creator would deviate from this contentment. If you're in perfect contentment, why do anything? Like, oh, isn't this nice? And so we can suggest maybe the creator got bored of being all-knowing and went in search of some mystery. didn't know everything is, that's boring, right? Maybe the creator got lonely being the sole source and endpoint of all awareness. Perhaps, there's some desire there, some heat of desire that motivated a move away from being the one all-pervasive creator. Perhaps it's simply the nature of creation to create. And the creator could not help but subdivide and initiate an infinite unfolding of future generations of unlimited form and function, whatever the motivation. Creation begins the moment the dot moves in any direction away from the center. Any movement in any direction, and all of a sudden it's no longer one, there's two. So that dot's going to move, and that movement away from center implies a second dot, because all of a sudden we have time. In order to move across space, that requires time, and so time and space arise simultaneously. So this is the thing with dimension zero, is it's timeless and spaceless, actually, because there can be no space without time, because if there's space, you can move across it, and in order to move across it, you must have time. And so the moment there's any movement, time and space are created, and all of a sudden this cascade of creation is initiated. And so with that movement, we have dimension one, which is the line. So to move at all requires two things. It requires a direction, and it requires speed or momentum. And so in physics, this is the definition of a vector, right? It's a line with an arrow. And so we have the first position, the second position. This creates the dot, as we see. This may be the same dot, right? Just like I'm the same person, whether I'm sitting here or here, and yet they are separated in time, even microscopically, immeasurably. This Dave is different than this Dave. And so the two dots are actually different. And so here we have duality, the tension between opposites. And so the line, this linear form of awareness, is this very directional way of knowing. A line is defined by the shortest distance between 2 points. I see that, I want to go there. It's this very sort of sharp, angular approach to existence. The line is highly motivated. It has to have enough force to escape the gravity of the black hole. The passion, the curiosity required for the creator to escape his own black hole has to be a tremendous force, this powerful desire to get outside itself, to escape the black hole. So the first dimension has a lot of desires, ambition. It's got to get where it's going, So this is a very feel the energy of that, as opposed to the contentment, the peace of dimension zero. Dimension one has direction. Yeah, it has the capacity to penetrate like a laser, shoots through, and dimension one understands itself relative to its goal. Shortest distance between 2 points. I'm going from one point to the next. That's how I define myself. That's how I know who I am. Just talking about it, I'm getting images of so many people I know who are one-dimensional in that way, right? Or we have these aspects of ourselves, parts of ourselves that are very one-dimensional. You see what you want, go for it. And there's nothing else that's going to get in the way. There's no distraction, single-pointed, laser-like attention. So dimension one is associated with number two. This is one of the sort of tricky things we have to track all the way through. Dimension zero is the number one. Dimension one is the number two, and in that it's the relationship between the two dots. We can even call them the mother-father dots, right? So the first dot is Purusha, the stuff of existence. That second dot comes along and is the animating force, what we call Prakriti, that adds motion, that adds activity to the stuff. So it's no longer just inert. Now it's moving. And we can see these two dots as the masculine, feminine principles, Shiva and Shakti. And I mean, what happened in our little geometric example here, the two dots merged, didn't they? And so this is where this part of the presentation gets a little racy. It's a little bit bordering on NC-17, because one of the alternate titles for this portion of the presentation is geometric sex. And we're going to see, as we go through dimensions, there is this reproductive process that allows us to evolve down through the dimensions. So dimension 1 gives us polarization. It gives us pairs of opposites. And this is foundational to creation. And we live in this dualistic reality, right? It seems like, can you think of anything that exists that doesn't have its opposite pair? It's a serious question to contemplate. I've been thinking about it for years and I haven't come up with a good answer yet. And so just for some examples, we've got light, dark, day, night. We got male and female, which again is a little of a liquid fluid thing, but it's a spectrum, right? There's an infinite number of points between the opposite extremes, and perhaps we can better say masculine and feminine dynamics. But these are polarized opposites. We've got hot and cold, wet and dry, smooth and rough, mobile and static, subtle and dense, clear and cloudy, black and white, on and off, up and down, left and right. All of creation is defined by these pairs of opposites. And this is a core concept in Ayurveda, which is, again, a topic for a different class. But the tension between these two pairs of opposites is what makes all subsequent creation possible. And so the image I have for you is to think of a guitar string, or really any stringed instrument, where it is the tension, the fixed point on either end of the instrument, that creates the tension in the string that allows there to be music. And the relative quality of the tension creates a C, a D, or an E, or an F. But if there's no tension, then you've just got a string hanging, and you can pluck that string all day long, and it's not really going to make the vibration needed to create the beautiful music that you want to make. So that tension between paired opposites is necessary for anything else to exist. So I take great solace in this, because within myself, I know that there are opposing parts, right? I have a homebody that loves to just be at home and cozy, and I have a nomad who just wants to roam the world and camp in wild places and doesn't care about comfort. And those two are irreconcilable opposites. There's no way that both of them can be happy and satisfied at the same time. And so this knowledge helps me a lot to recognize that that's okay. It's actually appropriate. And the tension between those two is actually a very powerful force that animates my whole existence. Without that tension, I would just be a boneless blob on the couch. And who cares if I want to go out or want to stay home? I have no choice, right? So, okay. Dimension 1, got it? Feels good? Makes sense? You can feel that the power of it, right? Yeah. Okay, let's see what happens next.